Hey, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to another Clash Royale video, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at a Sparky deck that I used to use before some recent updates really. So this was back before the Jungle Arena really came out, and Frozen Peak was actually 2,300 trophies all the way up to 3,000. So yeah, things have changed a lot since then, but I'm pretty sure the deck can still do some of you out there some good. And the meta might have changed. The Electro Wizard might be a thing. Zap might be kinda all over still. There might be some more lightning users and some more rocket users. There's also bait users for like decks with the Goblin Gang, Skeleton Army and all that, but I'm pretty sure you all can figure out a way how to use this deck after watching this video. So without further ado, let's take a look at what makes up this deck. Our first card is the Giant. Now, the Giant is a real one-man wrecking crew, as his description would imply, and being the tank of this deck, you will want to support him adequately depending on your opponent's cards and depending on the situation really at hand, because things can vary in every match, so it's not always going to be the same, so just keep that in mind. Our next card is the highlight of this deck, or the shining star of this video really, and that is the Sparky. Now this puppy is no boy, in fact it is a girl. I don't know why Supercell just has a thing for girl power, and a lot of the more powerful cards in the game are actually female, so I'm not really sure why, but that's just how it is. So Sparky is actually a ranged attacking unit that does high damage, and it's actually splash damage as well, so around 1300 damage at level 1, not bad. The only downside is that she has to charge up 5 seconds before she can really unload her charge, and she can actually be distracted a lot, but we'll get into that later on in the video. Our next card is the Musketeer. Now this little lady might look harmless with her curled hair, but do not take her for granted. Her trusty boomstick destroys single targets when she's locked onto them, and the crown tower in particular is what suffers the most with just any brief moment in time when you can get the musket on it, because she does so much damage, it is insane. And what's more, her range is seriously huge. Trust me, you can defend both freaking lanes with a Musketeer and still continue pushing. It's just an insane card. It's like sort of the range of a princess. Nah, I'm just kidding with you guys, but still, seriously, the fact that you can defend both lanes like you would with a princess, that is something to really keep your mind on. And let's just move on to the next card. Our next card is the Valkyrie. Now, Valkyrie is one of my all-time favorite cards. At least she used to be in the past decks that I've made, because almost every deck that I try to make, the first card that I would put in is either a Valkyrie or a Zap. I love those two cards honestly, and she's really helpful. She is a splank and she is able to help us out with most giant pushes and stuff. Any rare and supporting units, you can count on her to help clean them up. Now a lot of you out there might have problems countering the elite barbarians, and let me just say, Valkyrie absolutely wrecks elite barbarians at tournament standard, because when they're even level and they're not over leveled like they usually are on ladder, Valkyrie kinda just evens it out. So what you'll need to do is place the Valkyrie in the middle of the arena so that she pulls both of them in range of the crown tower really, and with that little assistance she will actually destroy them. She'll just level them and mop the floor, and she might actually survive as well. The only time she might die is if they are over leveled, or if the opponent decides to zap the Valkyrie. Now, there's not really a high likelihood of that happening, but if your opponent knows when to use the zap on the Valkyrie, you might be in for some trouble, so just watch out for that. And what I would advise doing is pairing the Valkyrie with the Ice Spirit. So if they can't really get a prediction log right and stop the Ice Spirit, you'll be able to just wreck those elite barbs and still have the Valkyrie with a lot of HP. And a Valkyrie with a lot of HP, you know what that means? It means a counter push. So most of the time you can actually just build on those positive traits and continue pushing onwards. Now, our next card, we have the Mega Minion. Now, previously, this card was known as the Meta Minion because of its versatility as a 3 elixir card. And this, let me just say, this card has insane value by itself as well, because of the fact that it cannot be countered by most spells. So, typical things that counter regular minions: Ice Spirit, Zap, Fireball, arrows, all that jazz. The Mega Minion is a freaking beast, guys. it has the power to survive all of those spells and will not die instantly to anything except a rocket or a lightning really. So in terms of versatility, it is worth the 3 elixir. The only downside is that if it's distracted long enough, it will die to the crown tower or anything in general that distracts it. But yeah, and what you'll want to do with the mega minion, you'll want to make valuable trades. Now since executioner was released into the game after jungle arena was implemented, you'll want to use the mega minion as a perfect counter to the executioner once you can place it away from where they would usually cast their tornado, so the left, the right, or if it's possible somehow behind the executioner. Those are the places that I would use the mega minion in order to stop those tornado executioner defenses or counter pushes that they may have going at you. So another card that you can use to stop the executioner really is the musketeer or the Valkyrie. Just place them appropriately and it could sort of work out. Alright, back to the mega minion again once more. The mega minion, it moves really slow, as I mentioned in the Night Witch video really, I think it was. Yeah, it was the Night Witch tutorial video. I mentioned how slow the mega minion works, so you'll want to pair it with the giant typically or the Valkyrie, but preferably the giant. It is a nasty card to have coming at you with a strong tank in the way, unless you have something to really hit the rear end or maybe splash it with tornado and stuff. So yeah, mega minion, a great card for 3 elixir. I advise using it, guys. Trust me, it is worth. Okay folks, let's move on to the next card. Our next card is the Ice Spirit. Now this is a card which has proven to give almost infinite value in some decks because of its ability to freeze certain troops which have been caught in its splash for about 1.5 seconds. Now previously this was 2 seconds, but Supercell decided that this was actually a little bit too overpowering, so they decided to nerf it by 0.5 seconds, and it is what it is right now. So if you're running Ice Spirit, there are a few tricks that you can use with the Ice Spirit in the deck, and one of it is being able to continuously chip away at your opponent's tower without them realizing. So trust me guys, this is a tip that will actually help you out in the long run, and it's just really sneaky and evil to do, but not everyone really thinks about the one Ice Spirit that is constantly jumping on the tower every, I don't know, every 20 seconds or something. The damage adds up folks, so it's your choice to really do it. Now if you're not chipping away at your opponent's tower with the Ice Spirit when you're cycling, what you can do is pair it with certain cards. So what you'll want to pair it with is the Valkyrie or the Musketeer, sometimes even the Sparky on an offensive push or any general offensive push, but mainly the Ice Spirit is there for solid defense against elite barbs, hog riders, barbarians, any of that stuff. You can even use it against the Musketeer. Now when it was actually able to freeze Musketeer for 2 seconds, it can almost completely deny all damage done on the tower. Isn't that insane folks? So if you're just looking to mitigate damage, you can use the Ice Spirit because it can survive one shot from a Musketeer. In fact, it can even survive one minor shot. So if you're looking to just stall a minor for like a second and you don't know where the hell it's gonna pop up at, use the Ice Spirit folks, and it will freeze the minor once it's close enough, and it can jump onto him, and it'll give you more reaction time to really drop a proper counter. But I would advise just trying to predict it, because if you're gonna spend 1 elixir on a counter, I would prefer to use skeletons. And some other ways you can use the Ice Spirit is really to just combo it against minions. Now when you have regular minions coming at your tower, you can just drop your Ice Spirit anywhere that is close to the minions. So what this will do is it will weaken the minions and keep them in place long enough for your crown tower to take them out within about, let's say, 2 shots. So that's really a good trade there. 1 for 3 elixir, and you're making a +2 trade, so that is really awesome. And in fact, you can actually use the same trick against the minion horde. However, you'll actually need a more specific placement when countering the minion horde. When countering the minion horde with an Ice Spirit, what you'll want to do is place the Ice Spirit a little ahead of where they're going to be in just about 1 second, and try not to give your opponent too much reaction time, because of course if they see the Ice Spirit coming and they know what you're gonna do, they'll try to kill it with a log or something. So like I said, just drop the Ice Spirit just ahead of where they're gonna be, and he will jump and splash all of the minions really there. And again, it will help your tower out a lot. 2 shots on each minion, not bad, and it will save you 4 freaking elixir. Now if you want to kill all of these minions instantly, if something is tanking for them, like maybe a minor was already there on the tower and the tower is distracted, you will want to zap them away instantly. So when you're killing the regular minions, it is an even trade, and when you're killing the minion horde, it will still be a +2 trade. And as it happens, you can actually use the zap in a similar way. What you want to do when zapping the minion horde, you'll want to zap the minions as they cross the bridge, really, so that the tower is able to one-shot each and every one of them before they can make it to the tower. If you do it too early, there'll be 2 minions on the tower. If you do it too late, there'll be 1. Now, you might remember me saying that the Mega Minion was a freaking beast. Well, this is true, but the Mega Minion can actually be shut down by just 1 Ice Spirit. All you need to do is just place the Ice Spirit near the center of the arena, get its attention, and when it freezes the Mega Minion in place, like I said, it'll just let the Crown Tower lay into it and just finish it off before it can get even 1 shot. So that's another trick that you might want to keep handy in your arsenal of knowledge in this game, because trust me, every trick in the book really helps. So any advice anyone gives you, take it with a grain of salt actually, because not all of it is true, but hey, what can I say really? Everything counts. So more Ice Spirit tech. What you can do with the Ice Spirit again, you can actually mitigate damage from like a Hog Rider, a Royal Giant maybe, just prevent those extra shots. So good cards to pair it up with would be the Musketeer, as I said, and the Mega Minion. The Mega Minion would be a better trade against the Hog Rider, and you can use the Giant right after for that strong and beastly counter push. Now, our next card is going to be the Fire Spirits. Now, not every deck really features Fire Spirits, and frankly speaking, Fire Spirits are really underused in the game right now because the Furnace technically overshadows them because it can actually produce Fire Spirits every few seconds. I think it's every 10 seconds or so, or 9.5, something like that. So, these little bundles of joy want to give you a warm hug for 2 elixir. These are great distractions for the 5 elixir prince, the mini P.E.K.K.A, the big P.E.K.K.A, and just anything in general if used correctly. So, when you're using them against the prince, they will actually have one of them just stopping briefly to jump and the prince will kill it, but the other 2 should make it onto the prince. I would not recommend using them against the Dark Prince because there's probably a high chance that the Dark Prince will just end up splashing onto all of them. Alrighty, let's say your Valkyrie is not appropriately leveled and you have some really strong elite barbarians coming down your lane. Like I said before, use the spirits in the middle of the arena and pull them towards them, and once they splash onto the elite barbarians, it'll just make an easier time for your Valkyrie or Musketeer really to just lay into them. And some other tricks you can do with the Ice and Fire Spirits, you can use them as distractions for that Sparky or that Inferno Dragon. So if you don't have Zap in rotation, or your Musket or Valkyrie or your Mega Minion, any of that stuff that you would normally use to counter whatever is at hand, you can use the spirits as a distraction or just to flat out counter them. With the Ice Spirit, you can reset the Sparky and Inferno Dragon shots, and you can also just deal a lot of damage with the Fire Spirits really instantly. So just have them distracted by something else and then use your Fire Spirits appropriately. So if you're fighting True Muskets and you don't have your Valkyrie in hand, you can actually just drop something like a Mega Minion really. You have to do this really quick, so I'd advise learning how to quick drop. Just tap the Mega Minion, drop it quickly, and then immediately spawn the spirits in the middle of the 3 muskets and zap. So if you can do all that in the right amount of time, you should be able to take care of them. It's not advisable really to use all the Mega Minion and stuff, so if you can have something already like the Giant down on the board, it should work out better. And let's see, what else is there to say? We have the Zap. The Zap is our last card. Now, Zap might be a bit risky to run as your only spell in the deck, but trust me, look at the cards and just think for a moment. Isn't anything behind the Giant gonna be deadly? The Mega Minion alone in the tower with the Giant tanking up front, it's gonna take it. The Musket behind the Giant alone with the Giant tanking up front, it's gonna take that tower. Sparky, of course that tower is dead before the match even begins, as long as your opponent can't counter it properly, but just predict and play carefully, and the Sparky will pay you back in return. In fact, it will provide a lot more value than you actually spent on it. It's just a matter of predicting, as I said. Again, I know I'm saying these words a lot, but just bear with me. When you predict minions and minion hordes, skeleton armies, goblin gangs, or you can actually stall long enough, like using the Ice Spirit against a mini P.E.K.K.A that might just drop down, you can really screw over your opponent. So let's just talk about how the deck works briefly. Now I know I've been discussing all the cards, it's just that I wanted to give you all some general tips. So like any deck, you might want to use the giant in the back of the arena tower, unlike the king really, but if it comes down to it, you might want to start using the giant near the middle so you can distract something that is coming down the lane, like a musketeer or something like that. It is just a defensive trick that you can use. Not 100% advisable, but it is a good tactic to try out when you really need to defend without placing a troop in harm's way. Now when you're supporting a giant, you'll want to have at least 2 possible support troops or cards, preferably 1 support card and 1 support spell, because you can use the zap to counter whatever they throw at you, like a skeleton army, or just to buy your musketeer or mega minion enough time to kill whatever they have on defense. So if you're defending now, you use the Ice Spirit and Mega Minion, or Ice Spirit and Musketeer, Ice Spirit and Valkyrie. Those are your general go-to defenses against almost anything. Now as we all know, there are 4 general cards which really wreck the Sparky in terms of their capability to reset the Sparky, just screws it over, and these would include the Zap Spell, Electro Wizard, Ice Spirit and Lightning. Other good counters would be the Rocket, or maybe even Skeleton Army, Goblin Gang and all those other bait like cards. So when you're dealing with a Zap user, what you'll want to do is get them to use the Zap on the Fire Spirits or something like that, so you can just keep baiting out the Zap early game really with the Fire Spirits if you know you can defend whatever you needed the Fire Spirits to kill in another way. So you can actually just trick them, and you'll want to keep hiding the Sparky until like double elixir, when you absolutely know all of their cards and you can just mess them up with a surprise Sparky, because trust me, no one really expects a Sparky out of the blue in double elixir, because I mean, they might know you have 1 card hiding, but they'll probably think it's a balloon or I don't know, something else, but just generally not a Sparky is what they would expect. And for Electro Wizard, you'll want to stack up enough troops together, and what this will do is it will prevent the Electro Wizard from resetting the Sparky every single time. So cards I would advise putting around the Sparky would be the Musketeer or the Mega Minion really, and just having again Fire Spirits or Ice Spirit nearby, and it'll help the Sparky out in the long run. Now if your opponent is running something like a Fireball or something like that, be very careful and try to avoid using the Sparky, because we still have a lot of tower ticking pushes to make and it can get a lot of damage done instantly. Now where Lightning is concerned, you'll want them to use the Lightning on offense rather than defense, because you have a lot of troops that are susceptible to the Lightning spell. So try to get them to use the Lightning when they are pushing, and once you do that, you can feel free to use your other troops together and stuff, because it is highly unlikely that they would have another way to kill everything else unless they're playing the popular Hog Rider deck that has Lightning, Tornado, Executioner and all that jazz really. So just watch out for Executioners. If you're playing against Executioners, you'll have to play really carefully, guys. So just watch out for that value pushes that you can make for them, because Tornado and Executioner, or Tornado and Wizard, it can kind of wreck pushes. So again, be very careful. Now for the Ice Spirit, there's not much you can do really, so just have your troops backed up and ready to support the Sparky and keep her going, because the longer she's on the board, the more likely she'll be able to do something that was worth the 6 elixir investment. Now you might be wondering, what the hell do you do if they have Rocket? Because Rocket absolutely crushes Sparky. So one thing for sure, do not, and I repeat, do not place the Sparky near your Crown Towers or your King Tower really when they have Rocket in rotation, because what this will do is just give them free passage to just use that Rocket, do massive damage on your tower and just be rid of your Sparky instantly. So if you're playing against a Rocket user, wait till it's out of rotation and be very careful when pushing, so as to avoid giving them absolute just positive trades. And then you can also place the Sparky near the middle of the arena to do whatever she has to do, just protect her from anything that might upset her, like an Electro Wizard, or just protect her in general against any troops that they might have near the bridge or something. So if you haven't picked up on it by now, what you'll want to do is just play smart defense, folks, and just go for the counter pushes. So just play smart defense throughout the match really, learn what they have, and when you do counter push, what you want to do is just push lightly with the giant and just be ready with that zap or either one of the spirits, whichever one is just more needed at the point in time. So that's generally how you play the deck, and I would hope that you all enjoyed this video and how to just play this Sparky deck in general. So if you did enjoy the video, let me know down in the comments, and just feel free to tell me what do you think of these deck guides and stuff that I've been making for you all so far. It would mean a lot if I could just get some feedback on that. Now in the future, I do plan to do 2 more Sparky decks if it's possible, when I can finally get to interview 2 of the local top players in my country. Yes, I do plan on doing some interviews with some top players here, and they should be able to tell us a bit about their decks and give us general tips, so let's hope that we can make these videos work. Anyways folks, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always folks, remember, if you keep on digging, you'll eventually strike gold, but even then, keep on digging deeper. You'll eventually come across something even more worth your while. So once again everyone, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace out guys.